Wonderful. Nothing I said was heard. I'm sorry for that. But you could read whatever was laid out there. I'm sorry for missing this. Several points of interest are marked on the map of Farm Solius. The pond, children's play areas. To your knowledge, however, none would require the use of ceruleum. I was just reading out everything, making stupid remarks, so you didn't miss much. Like, it does annoy me that I forget to use... forget to turn on my... microphone again. This, whatever it is, appears to have some sort of symbolic meaning relating to this park. Even though the place is named after Solus, it doesn't seem to be a statue of him, well, at least not anymore. Maybe it was once a fountain? Or somewhere the man himself used to sit? Not that it would matter, even if you knew, but I can't help but wondering. Oh. Children's slide. The contraption is built in the style of Imperial war machina, armed with a battery of weapons and capable of transforming into different configurations. In closer inspection, it appears to be no more than a children's slide. Okay. I'll just leave it at that, I guess. Some more little pond. I don't imagine there would be much need for Magitech in the park of all places, but then again, I wasn't raised in Garlemald. They may have uses for ceruleum that I've yet to consider. Alright, I haven't talked to him because too many players. Oops. Jules ignores you as he stares at the water in silence, as if searching for something he knows has gone and will never return. Oh well. Oh well, indeed. A cursory inspection of the wrecked magic armor confirms that the fuel canisters have long since been drained of ceruleum, as Julius said. Back to the man. Oh, it's you. Any luck? None whatsoever. There's no sign of any ceruleum. Hardly surprising, but disappointing nonetheless. I couldn't help noticing you gazing at the pond. Something the matter? What? Yes, I mean, no, I'm... It's just, I used to bring my brother and sister here to play. The pond was seated to stop it from freezing over, so like all other children, they just had to wade in and splash about. Would have stayed there if I didn't drag them out. We'd be sopping wet when all was said and done, every time. And every time, when we'd get home, Mother would scold us, saying we'd catch our death walking around like that. How is it still warm? The pond was heated. With a ceruleum-powered heater, by chance? I suppose it must have been. Come to think of it, I remember seeing engineers changing out a tank beneath a hatch. But that was a long time ago, when the water still flowed clear and wasn't this brackish muck. We can't see a thing, and I can't remember where the hatch might be. With the machinery most likely broken, the amount of filth in there is probably the only reason it hasn't frozen over. I'd wager it's still unbearable cold, though. Judas, what are your thoughts on magic? The average Guardian would jump out of their skin if they saw it, but it first has a few foreign signiferi and medici, so it doesn't scare me. Then I take it you won't mind if I employ a little now. Afino, as you have a knack for finding dry wood, why don't you bring me some? Once that's done, a blast of a fire should do the trick. Leave it to me. You're not planning to go in there, are you? Of course I am. That tank isn't going to fetch itself. It's nothing so involved as extracting unprocessed ceruleum from a frozen lake, like how the tappers do it. We're talking about a shallow pond in the park, and we have a way of warming ourselves up after. But that's insane. So, fancy a dip? A friendly competition might make things interesting. The last thing we need is you catching a cold. Step aside while I drink the pond dry. That way we'll find it in no time. Nah, I know she likes competitions, so let's go with that one. Last one to find a ceruleum tank is a rotten egg, though I dare say we'll both smell like rotten eggs when this is over. Point of interest. Well, I haven't gotten wet yet, technically. You delve into the mucky water, but come up empty-handed. To add injury to insult, the icy wind on your damp clothes chills you to the bone. Drenched in ice-cold water, causing damage over time. Oh no. I might die here. No, I won't. You delve into the water, same thing again. It's probably going to be the same for all of these. Like, it has to be the last one. Look, I don't even have to be in the water for this one. I legit only have to go into the water for one of these. Beneath the water, your fingers catch on what you think might be a handle. You open the hatch and retrieve a ceruleum tank. However, your grand discovery comes at a great personal cost, as you become actually aware of the freezing cold and the rancid odor emanating from every ilm of your body. Judas will doubtless feel compelled to pinch his nose shut when you deliver him your prize. Oh my god. God damn it. You found it? Huh? There must be another one around here somewhere. Did you find anything? Ugh, I hope you did. Uncovering hidden treasure is an adventurer's bread and butter, though one is not normally required to go elbow deep in ice-cold, stagnant pond water to retrieve it. Nevertheless, many would choose that over mowing down hordes of slavening beasts or solving annoying puzzles. Wonderful. That's it. There's still some ceruleum left. Ah, the fire's still not ready. Hold on. I'll give Alfino a hand. Call me an Olden, because by fire I am reborn. My clothes are mostly dry now, too. I appreciate you recovering the ceruleum, but I wish you'd taken the time to discuss the plan with me beforehand. Despite the way you've been treated, in Lord Quintus's eyes, you're still Envoys deserving of protection. If he were to die on my watch, he would be most displeased. Your concern is duly noted, but all's well that ends well. You mentioned coming here with your younger siblings. Did you grow up in Garlemald? I did, not far from here. My father was an accomplished researcher in his youth, and for his contributions to the Empire awarded an estate. We lived well, better than many. What was Garlemald like in those days? Everything. It was everything you could imagine, and so much more. Even during the coldest winters, we always found warmth and comfort at home. Coming in from the snow, taking off your coat, and sitting down for a hot meal. With family. Visiting friends and relatives, receiving that same welcome, knowing they had everything they needed. Walking down the street, seeing the lights in all the houses, hearing the faint sounds of laughter and song. Happiness. And although the summers came and went all too quickly, in that brief respite, the eyes would melt and the forgotten grass make its triumphant return. Grey clouds gave way to blue skies. Some mornings we'd climb to the top of the tallest building we could find to watch the sunrise. Never again. Those rooftops are rubble, those friends dead, and those memories. But if I could reclaim even a fraction of what we once had. Soon, our chance will come. We just need to hold on a little longer. This park materials. What a wonderful, stupidly awesomely named quest. Thank you, Koji, and thank you, the rest of the English localization team, for that quest name. Owing to the wealth of experience I've accrued in gathering firewood, I was even able to provide Judas with some basic pointers on the subject. I thought it might help to further build a rapport, and to distract him from his other concerns. Well, at least my clothes are finally dry, though they could still do with a proper wash. No good deed goes unpunished. Alright, now that you've recovered from your escapades on the pond, there's another location I'd like to search just outside the park. Their old home, I suppose. Everything was built on an enormous scale and with thick, cleanly cut stone, much like Amarot. Given what we now know, such similarities are no coincidence. The war machina appears to be patrolling the area of its own volition. I wonder whether it's simply following its original orders, or if it is now serves to Loferoy. As you can see, this place is littered with the remnants of various types of war machina. While my comrades and I have already recovered the tanks from this less damaged unit, those that took a more severe beating are harder to scavenge. We decided to save those for another time, that time being now. Rather than prise them apart, piece by piece, it would be quicker to remove the outer casing using compact explosives. With luck, we gain access to the tanks without rupturing them. The force generated by these devices is relatively weak, but I would advise you stand well clear to avoid being hit by any shrapnel. Before even bothering, though, you should check the Machinist's ceruleum gauge to see if there's any left. It should still provide an accurate reading even when the unit itself is inactive. The gauge is broken. I'll let you decide whether to use an explosive or not. Should you need more, come to me. Understood. Let's get to work. According to the ceruleum gauge, the unit's fuel tank is empty. Nah, I'm gonna check if I can see if I can use them on any that are not empty. The ceruleum gauge on this unit appears to have been broken, giving you a way to determine how much fuel its tank may hold. Okay. Neither are not empty. Also broken. I'm gonna find one that is not empty. Mark my words. And not broken. Unless, of course, there simply aren't any that aren't broken or empty. Alright. I guess in that case, I'm going to use the ones that are broken. After successfully removing the mechanism's outer casing and retrieving the ceruleum tank, you find it to be completely empty. Of course. Also completely empty. Need some more? Here. I have a fair amount of explosives to spare today, but tomorrow is another story. We can't afford to waste them on units with nothing to offer, so be sure to check the gauge first. Of course, if the gauge is damaged, it's up to you to make the call. Okay. You were empty. Yes. Okay. You retrieve the marked Makita ceruleum tank to find it's still half full, or half empty, depending on one's perspective. Either way, Jules will surely be pleased by your discovery. Yay! We did a thing! More explosives? Wait, is that what I think it is? Not only did this tank survive the attack that disabled the war machina in which it was installed, it also escaped the blast of your explosive unscathed. If medals for outstanding service were awarded to inanimate objects, this champion among ceruleum tanks would surely deserve one. You've done it again. Truly, luck is on your side. With this, we should be able to refuel quite a few of our heaters. It's time we headed back. Wait here while I go and see how Alizé and Alphino are faring. Alright, let's wait. Oh, here they are.
Finally escaped the watchful gaze of your keepers, have we?
We have.
Don't react. You'll only draw attention to yourself. Just carry on as you are and listen.
Sure.
After you left with the Garlean lad, Lucia bade a few of us scouts follow you at a discreet distance.
Of course she did.
We observed you being led into the station, but decided against venturing inside.
A good call.
When you emerged sometime later, and we saw that the twins were sporting Magitech collars, it was clear what had taken place. Now, as quietly as you can, tell me everything.
Okay.
The Legatus himself, eh? Now there's a surprise. This is also the first I've heard of a plan to join forces with the 10th and storm the Tower of Babel.
Interesting.
An interesting development. And perhaps the opportunity we've been waiting for.
Oh.
Our comrades back at the camp also received some rather promising news. But it's still too early to get our hopes up. For now, keeping yourselves out of harm's way comes before all else. Whatever demands the Garleans make, indulge them.
We could pick a ride on the Garleans storming the Tower of Babel.
Until then.
They had not gone far.
Good.
We searched high and low, but no luck, I'm afraid. I might have guessed you'd be the only one to find anything.
Of course we did.
I wasn't expecting much to begin with. Eventually, there will be nothing left out here for us to safely salvage.
Well, we got something at the very least.
This will have to suffice. We should return to the station.
We should indeed.
Ah, there you are. Heard you'd gone hunting for ceruleum above ground. Brought back a king's ransom?
Hardly. But thanks to these three, we have enough to last a little while longer.
Well, well. It's not at all as I was expecting, these ones. For savages, they seem positively docile. It's a poor attempt at humor. In all honesty, I'm grateful for your efforts. But even with another night of warmth, there are those among us who may not live to see the morrow.
You know, we have like a year and a half here. Actually 2.
I trust your expedition was fruitful.
Lord Quintus!
Such a fool.
Use what you procured to refuel the armor.
The armor?
But, sir, what about the heaters for the camp?
The time for action is upon us. My men and I have matters to discuss. In the meantime, you are to wait here. Do not forget, you are being watched.
Interesting.
The time for action. What did he mean by that?
Good question.
I can only speculate. Clearly something requiring their magitech, given what we just heard. Whether they plan to utilize it now, or after they join with the 10th, is another question. Will they ever escape this cult? Return to and reclaim the idyllic spaces of which Eula spoke?
Probably not.
Finished your war, Council?
Alphino and Alize are to stay here as our prisoners. They will be released once your comrades have relinquished their supplies and withdrawn from Garlean soil.
What?
Until our terms are met, they will be detained at a separate location.
Okay.
After everything we've said and done, this is how you treat us.
It is indeed.
Our allies have but limited supplies. They may stave off cold and starvation for a short while, but what then?
Don't think they care.
For now, keeping yourselves out of harm's way comes before all else. Whatever demands the Garleans make, indulge them.
Do as he says.
Get them out of here.
I will get you back. Alphino and Alize will be fine, provided they do not resist. Question mark, question mark, question mark. Alia iacta. The dice have been cast. You will accompany me back to your camp, where we'll meet with your leader and present Lord Quintus's demands. Before we depart, however, there's something I would ask of you. Assuming your contingent complies, the supplies they surrender will need to be transported here. The task falls to Legionaries Marcellinus and Octavia, who will pilot Magitek armor to your headquarters. You are to inform them that we are leaving shortly. Tell them to ask the eel for further details in those words. Once you've seen to that, meet me by the exit. Okay. You again. Ask the eel, he said. Eh, eh, eh. So, that's to be the way of it, after all this. How ironic that you should be the one to deliver the news. If those are my orders, then so be it. For the glory of Garlemald. Huh. What do you want with me? Ask the eel. So Lord Quintus has reached a decision. I knew he would understand, that he would recognize the savage as a ruthless, merciless creature, and to defeat him, we too must be uncompromising. I am ready, in the name of Emperor Varus, for the glory of Garlemald. I will fulfill my duty. I don't like that both of them mentioned for the glory of Garlemald, as, you know, as if they were tempered. Have you done as instructed? What do you mean by ask the eel? I'm not at liberty to divulge that. What I can say is this. You have no cause for concern if your demands are met. You and I on this together now, like it or not, we have to cooperate. There's one other matter, a place I'd like to visit on the way to your camp. It's a short walk from here. Follow me. Short walk, you say? I'm guessing we're visiting his home? Give me a moment, please. Oh. Euless lingers by the ruins, reluctant to leave and reluctant to stay, unable to move on. Wait here? Of course. Of course we shall wait here.
This is my home.
I know.
Our home.
Oh.
At least it was until that night. I was with Lord Quintus when the capital fell, and thus spared. My family, who did not own a radio, were less fortunate. When dawn came, I made my way here. My parents, my little brother and sister, they were still inside. But they weren't themselves, and they tried to. And I had to. I'd promised to take them away from the capital that very morning, to somewhere safe, to hide until the fighting stopped.
One day too late.
I promised. Garlean flag bears a chain. The bonds between our countrymen.
Mm-hmm.
A red link at its center. The blood of the fallen. Our loved ones who lived and died for Garlemald.
Oh, interesting.
But if she too fell, who would be left to remember them and their sacrifice? What enduring proof would there be that they were ever here? If we had turned to your gods, would they have saved us?
Mm.
I'm sorry, forget I spoke. We should go.
It's no use. Believe me, I do not enjoy being here any more than you. But he wanted us to play along, so that is what we will do. It's so cold. Painfully so. Unbearably.
I've been thinking about what Quintus said. About why no one would accept Garlean rule. Irreconcilable differences. When coexistence isn't an option, only conquest remains. Varus at Gimlet said much the same. Only by uniting the world beneath a single standard would we rid ourselves of the Ascians. United as one people, one race cleansed of imperfections. A cold and unforgiving vision. And when we fail to live up to their standards, what place is there for us in their world? But the truly sad, truly frustrating thing is how damnably similar it all is to the lofty ideals of Father and the Forum.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Non-intervention. Always non-intervention. Protect our knowledge and our people, and to hells with the rest of you. And yet, I can see how it happened. Varus and Father looked to their elders for guidance and took their virtues as their own. But for this world was of their making. In who else could they place their trust? All of us lost in a sea of chaos, searching desperately for purpose and meaning. But it shouldn't just be an extension of another's. It has to be ours. It has to be. We all have a stake in this world. No one should be silenced.
I won't deny that we lack the experience of people such as Father or Quintus.
True.
Perhaps they've come to see the world as a series of problems, and the most efficient way of solving them, to reduce everything to fundamental forms.
I think that's one way of doing it.
A stone is a stone, a cloud, a flower, no more than that. Simple descriptions that strip the subject of distinguishing characteristics. A man is a man, divided according to race, creed, or allegiance, and to some, defined by such associations.
Is that what you think?
in my misbegotten youth. But what I believed wisdom was no more than aggressive ignorance. I've since learned to look beyond the banners and the politics, to see people as individuals with their own hopes and dreams. As for my dream of building a better world, well, every day I'm reminded that it is far more complex than I had ever imagined. But it only spurs me onward, to find the wisdom and the strength to see it through to the very end.
All of our supplies and an immediate withdrawal. These are your conditions.
She's nearly laughing at the proposition.
Demands. And you forgot about the airship. Once again, you will leave one behind. It will be used to return the prisoners. Their collars will be removed prior to the exchange.
So in the end, not even Father's expertly worded rhetoric could deter you from your chosen course.
He's too stubborn for that.
Huh?
Not that I thought for a moment that it would. I've no love for violence, of course, but ours is a cause worth fighting for. I just wish he'd realize it too. Sometimes the only way to protect the ones you love is to take a stand, to refuse to suffer in silence. I want you to know I share your conviction. Whether it be on the battlefield or in the debating chamber, I won't back down. I guess what I'm saying is...
We go together.
You've found your own reason to fight.
Yes. Yes, I have. God's willing, there will come a day when we can finally lay down our arms, and there will be peace. But not until the Telophoroi have been defeated once and for all. And you, brother, will have a vital part to play. By your words and deeds, you'll lead the way.
Oh no.
I pray I am up to the task.
There'll always be naysayers. Those who think us fools for even trying. It's easy for learned elites to criticize earnest efforts and assert their moral superiority, all without offering alternatives. Not that their sophistry has ever wounded you. So stubborn and strong. Stronger than you even know. Don't ever change, you hear me? If you stumble, I'll be there to catch you. Or give you a thick ear. Maybe both, for good measure.
Can they stop with the death flags for Alfino, please?
Thank you, Alice.
I don't like it. Oh. Hi.
The scouts have secured Alize and Alfino. Their collars were removed without complication as well. They report no casualties, not for their party nor the guards, who will wake from their premature slumber in due course.
Lol.
It would appear the situation has changed. I propose new terms. We have information that will be of great interest to Lord Quintus, and I wish to speak with him in person.
Once he awakes, of course.
No. In the event you rejected our first proposal, we came prepared with a second.
Ambush! More are coming! Make ready!
That's a lot of match attack.
We, the loyal soldiers of the First Legion, proud servants of Garlemald, of the fallen Emperor Varys, shall safeguard these lands from the barbarian hordes until our countrymen return! Stop, both of you!
This child may be the worst emissary I have ever seen.
Wonderful.
We received an urgent communication from the Grand Company of Eorzea. Envoys from the Imperial Army, led by members of the 10th Legion, came to Alamigo and requested an audience. They explained that their efforts to coordinate the reclamation of the capital with the aid of the 4th, 5th, 8th and 12th had ended in failure.
Whoops.
Communication between most legions has broken down entirely. Most of the 10th's conscripts have deserted, leaving their forces severely depleted. That is why, unable to continue the fight on their own, they and their allies turned to the Grand Company of Eorzea for aid.
Lies! Every word!
It is the truth, and I have not finished. The 10th has requested that we deliver a message to Lord Quintus. Have the ill stand down.
You have been listening, my lord? What are your orders?
Inform her that we will honor the 10th's decision. Bereft of hope, and now dignity. I release you from your duty. All of you. I take solace, your radiance, in the knowledge you are not here to witness our debasement. 'Twas a grand, glorious dream we shared. Of a world united, of peace and prosperity. We are ghosts, you and I, memories of days gone by. Bonds forged in blood that I will not see tarnished.
Quickly! We have to reach the station before it's too late.
If there is still a chance that Quintus will agree to a truce, we must take it.
We'll get there before he and his men do something rash.
Too late. More bloodshed. More unnecessary bloodshed. God damn it. Holy shit. When the Imperials charged upon us, we were able to avoid any serious injuries on either side. In truth, most of the Guardians were in no condition to fight. Sunken eyes, hollow cheeks. It must have been a long time since they had a decent meal. I'm sure they will be much more amenable to conversation with food in their bellies. It was a grave error not to post sentries further from the camp. Had we seen the Guardians sooner, we could have slain them long before the truce was called. They engaged us of their own free will and deserve to die warriors' deaths. Even so, I have not forgotten why we are here, and I will stay my hand for now. Even with their empire in ruins, the Guardians have not lost the will to fight. That strength shall serve them in days to come. There is yet life in this cold soil. Thank goodness that the 10th Legion decided to sue for peace when they did. We have been spared more senseless bloodshed, which is the last thing anyone, including the First, needs. From their perspective, though, the promise of reinforcement was their last hope. Now they have no choice but to capitulate to the invaders, but we will prove to them that all is not lost, and we yet stand a chance of casting out Telophoroi. We'll make no attempt to resist. Much and more has occurred since last we met. As for determining what comes next, we must speak with Lord Quintus. About that... Strange bedfellows. Before we proceed, tell me what you know of the First Legion and the disposition of their forces. They were preparing for war, while the refugees in their care were left to go hungry. A reckless, short-sighted plan that risks the welfare of the people they are sworn to protect. Nevertheless, we cannot compel them to accept our aid. If we were to arrive in force with the intent to do so, it would only incite panic. But perhaps they can be persuaded to follow one of their own. Go with Julius back to the station and have him lead the refugees here. Some may be unwilling to or unable to leave, but for the time being, I'll take what I can get. Alphino, Alize, and the scouts sent to extricate them should already be at the station. I'll also have our other comrades in the area lend their support should it be needed. Understood. I'll have food and bedding prepared for the refugees. Getting them here safely, however, is my immediate concern.